Yeah, do you ever have times when you're editing this and you see this beginning stage and you're like, haha, we're dorks?
I feel that way through the beginning, middle, and end, though.
It never ends. Oh my gosh. This is so funny.
Okay, so are you ready, Amy?
I am ready to go when you are.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tea and Talking. My name is Kelly.
And my name is Amy.
And today we're going to be talking about our creepy true stories.
Yes.
So, Amy, I know that you have a lot of creepy true stories, but unfortunately, I don't have too many. Like, I don't have any creepy true stories, like supernatural stories. I have creepy encounters, but they're not like, So, Amy, let's start with you.
Oh gosh, okay. Actually, hold on. Before we start, let's go over our tea because I know that you're going to be serving. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
okay.
Kelly's going to be hosting today, so she's going to be serving us our tea. So, what are we drinking today?
All right. So today we have our teas. Let me show you guys. So this one is going to be cold brew, and I talked about this in our last video before. The Hario bottles are really, really good. Get the 800 milliliters one because these are glass, and it's always better to use glass. This one is our rose black tea.
Yes.
Cold brewed. And then this one is our ruby black tea, also cold brewed. And we're having rose right now.
Yeah. I figured right now, for some reason, I'm feeling a floral taste and our rose black tea is going to be great. But most likely after this, I'll probably end up having some of the ruby black because ruby black is actually my favorite.
Can never have just one. Gotta have them all.
Yeah, right? What are we, a Lay's commercial now? Oh no, is it Lay's or is it Lay's or Doritos?
No, we're Golden Life Tea commercial.
Yeah, Golden Life Tea. All right. Oh my goodness.
All right, Amy. So your first creepy true story.
I need a drink for this. Okay, so first and foremost, everything that I've personally experienced, either one, there is definitely another reasonable explanation for it, and then there are some that I don't have explanations for it, but in terms of me personally, I think just evil or demons in general like to play tricks on people. It's just a matter of speaking.
Also, people are sus.
Yeah, really, yeah. And on top of that, this is a kid's imagination because everything that I've experienced was when I was a kid, so sometimes my memory is vague. Before this video actually happened, I double-checked and called up my family members to confirm the stories that I'm about to tell you, and then so that everything was correct.
She checked her sources.
Yeah, I checked because, like I said, my memory is kind of iffy. So that's why bear with me because this is all happening when I was a kid. So let me go off when the first scenario that happened was when I was 4 years old and we were in Puerto Rico.
Guys are going to want to sit down for this.
Yeah. Yeah, every single time I tell these stories, Kelly always gets excited and at the same time spooked all over again. It's really funny how that works. So the first one happened in Puerto Rico. I was 4 years old and it had just happened that someone in our family had passed away. I don't know if it was my grandfather, like mi abuelo, or if it was someone else. I don't know, but we had gone to Puerto Rico. And things were different back then. Puerto Rico now is honestly, it's crime-riddled. It's not that great. But back then, the kids were able to stay out however long they wanted with no parent supervision. Like, it was perfectly fine. Nothing would happen. So, at my grandfather's house, there was a bar down the street, and that's where all the adults had gone through. So, my parents and my aunts and my uncles, like mi tías and mi tíos, all of them had gone down to the bar, and they were playing pool. So, all the kids were alone. And it just so happened, and mind you, I didn't know at that time, but they were playing a board game. Obviously, you guys can probably pick up on what I'm saying. I know now that it was actually a Ouija board. I didn't know that at the time because I'm 4 years old. All I remember was they started setting up all of my family members' candles. As you know, Spanish families always have candles. So they lit up all the candles in the house, and we're in the living room, and in the living room there's this one portion of the backyard that has an open backyard. It's all glass, and you could just slide it open, one of those sliding doors. I'm gonna explain why this is important later. So they were setting up this board game, and I really wanted to play. And my sister, who was 7 years old at the time, she kept on saying, no, like, this is for big kids. And I remember the time that I'm like, you're not much older. You're only, 7. Like,
get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't know why I couldn't play either, but I couldn't play with them. So she's like, go play with your Hot Wheels. That's what I remember. So I remember, like, all the candles were lit, and I'm playing with the Hot Wheels. And then I don't know what was happening. I really don't know. But all of a sudden, like, the candles started blowing out. And, like, my sister started crying and panicking. And my 2 older brothers, I don't remember if what happened with Tim. I don't know if he was there or not, but I know Jason was there for sure and Nick was there. And everyone started freaking out, and all my cousins there were freaking out. And then next thing I know, I turn around and there was people in our backyard. It was dark. Remember, it was nighttime. And I see people or shadows in the back. And I'm like, oh, mom and dad are back. So I go over and I'm like, oh, like mom, dad. I start running over there. And my sister immediately grabbed me and she's like, Amy, that's not our parents. And like, I just remember her crying. And one of my cousins in Spanish, she's yelling, la luz, like the light, like someone get the light and like turn on the lights. And I didn't see anything in the backyard. So I don't know what happened then. I can't explain it because I was really little at the time. And when I bring it up to my family members, the only one that seems to remember is my sister. And I'm going to bring up my sister a lot because, believe it or not, she's been in almost every single one of the incidents that's happened. So I think there's some connection with my sister. Don't know why, but that's my first story. It was Puerto Rico.
Sweating.
Yeah, I get goosebumps every single time I say this. I do. It's weird. God.
Which was the one that you told the story to April and then she immediately went home because she was too scared?
That was the Christmas one, and I'll get to the Christmas one too. I'll tell my basement story right now so we can go on. Because Kelly does have some stories, but
they're stupid.
Unfortunately, though, I just so happen to have more. Which is not a good thing. It's not something to be happy about. The second thing is the basement incident. I was 8 years old and my sister was 11 years old. And my parents were going out on a date. They had gone over to Red Lobster for dinner. And Disney Channel at that time was having all these reruns of, like, it was like Halloween Town and like the Halloween Town series, like Hocus Pocus, all these things. And mind you, these movies are not scary. They're not. They're like really, really fun kiddie stories, and it's not creepy at all. So
I didn't know that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have cable back then, so I wouldn't know.
No, I didn't have cable then. Like, I mean, I had it for that time, but my parents like couldn't afford DirecTV, so we had a DirecTV for like a year or two, and that was it. But anyways, yeah, but they're not scary movies. They're not. They're Disney Channel movies. Anyways, so we were watching it and all of the lights were on because my parents always told us to keep the lights on, keep the doors locked so that no one tries to come in or, you get what I mean. And if you don't know, our household is very secured, and I'm not going to go further to explain that, but we're okay. If there was an intruder, we'd be all right. Anyways, going on. So when we were in the middle of watching Halloween Town, someone started knocking at our front door. So if you don't know, my house has one front door and then we have a porch door, okay? And then from the porch door, we have a basement door. So as soon as you walk in from the porch door, you can walk right in. There's our kitchen and then there's the basement door. I'll explain why this is important later. So someone started knocking at our front door and my sister knew better. So she like opened the door, but there's another door there and she kept that one locked and she looked out and no one was there. And she checked the windows, no one was there. So she closed the door and went on our way, and then we continued watching the movie. And then the side porch door, like someone was knocking there, and we physically, like my sister and I physically saw it moving, but we couldn't see who it was because we had curtains in the porch door. So my sister opened up the porch door and curtains, I should say, and turned on the lights, and there was no one out there. So we're getting kind of spooked at this point, but we're still okay. So she closed the blinds, turned off the light, and turned off the kitchen light. And then a few minutes go by, and then our basement door starts knocking. I mean, severely slamming. Someone's slamming on our basement door, and thankfully it was locked. Like we had the two locks because once again, there's a reason why the basement was locked like that. But anyways. It started shaking, physically shaking, and my sister and I panicked, and we just bolted to the room. Like I don't even know if we turned off the TV or not. I don't even remember, but we just we immediately went to our room, closed the door, and hid under the bed. And we just kept crying. And back then, we had a cord phone. And the cord phone was in the kitchen. So we couldn't call up our parents or anything to ask them for help. And we didn't know what to do. So we just sat there and just cried ourselves until finally it was like 40 minutes later, my parents came home. And like we were freaked out because we thought whoever it was came into the house. And so my parents walk over and we hear their voice. And And they opened the door and they're like, you know, where are you guys? And my sister was like, we're down here. And like my parents had to come out and like grab us out. And they're like, what's going on? And we explained to them what happened. And they got pissed off because they thought it was the boys, because all 3 of my older brothers were out of the house. So they thought that maybe they were playing a prank and that maybe they broke into the basement, you know what I mean, and tried to get in the house. So later on, I remember my parents had asked all 3 of the boys if they tried to do that, if it was them, and they all swore up and down that it wasn't them, that they were at their friend's house or hanging out, whatever they were doing. So I don't know. All I can say is for the first 2 stories, I don't remember about the Puerto Rico one too much. I have no explanation. But for the second one, it's fair to say that chances are my brothers will die up that hill, and chances are it was them that was messing with us. But like, I don't know.
But the thing is, they wouldn't risk breaking your door down and taking that amount of heat from your parents, because at the end of the day, it's still their house too.
Yeah, I know.
So they wouldn't risk doing that.
They didn't have the keys then back then though, because they, like, even though my brothers are way older than us, I think Tim was the only one that had a spare key because he was the oldest one out of all of us. But
so they just try to kick in the door?
Oh, you'd be surprised. Like, my brothers tried to come in through the windows before, like, because they had snuck out and my parents locked the door and they didn't know that the boys were out. So yeah, like that. So that's why my parents thought it was them. So it could have been, but who knows? All I know is that there was something freaky going on that night, and my sister and I lived through that.
Oh God. All right, so well, it's time for one of my stories. All of my stories are true, and they're all really stupid, but they're all true. So we stayed at this hotel in Vegas. It's called Luxor. That's haunted. That hotel is haunted. But yeah, and I knew that going in. But at the same time, I didn't want to stay at Rio. There was already a million people staying in Rio. And I knew Luxor was haunted. But me and April, she was in our last video. We were just like, all right, let's go. It's okay. We'd rather be with ghosts than with like 12 other people. This was before COVID. So throughout the night, April, this was before the incident. The night before the incident, April had a sprain and she had like a Charlie's horse, so she could barely walk. And then we weren't able to take her with us to go on a hike. So she was just like by herself with Keith, our other friend. And then when I came back from the hike the next day, I just needed to take a shower and I needed to relax. And I think it was like already 12 midnight or like 1 a.m. And then when I got into the shower, I was waiting for it to heat up because it was kind of slow. So I was just kind of like, you know, standing there doing nothing. And I was going through my phone and I opened the camera. And then when it was pointed at the mirror when I opened the camera. So I saw words written on the mirror through my phone screen. And I was just like, no. And I looked at it again, and I saw words on the mirror. So I just put my phone down. I looked at the mirror, and it said, "I see you naked," like written on the mirror. And I freaked out. I was just like, what the hell? No! I was so scared. I just like wrapped the towel around, and I just like opened the door super loud and woke everyone up. And I was just like, guys, there's a ghost in the bathroom. And April started screaming. She was like, what? What do you mean there's a ghost in the bathroom? And the other girl that was with us, she got super scared too, and everybody was freaking out. And we freaked out for like a good 10 minutes. And then we were asking the only guy in the room, our friend Keith, we were asking him, hey, can you get rid of this? Can you help us? And he was like, what am I supposed to do? It's already dead. So then April was almost crying. She was so scared. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh wait, guys, that was me. I wrote this. I wrote this while you guys were hiking.
Oh my god.
And I was like, April, how are you gonna forget this? How are you gonna get yourself with your own prank? Oh my goodness. That was so scary. I thought it was a real horror movie incident. I thought I was gonna get clapped just like that. In the bathroom at a hotel.
I know, I've heard some creepy things about Luxor. I've never been to Vegas, but I often hear stories about some of the older hotels and stuff, or the older resorts, I should say.
I thought I was gonna die in that accessible bathroom. Yeah, I had like a little seat too. I thought I was gonna die there. It was so bad. Oh my god.
See, I never know, because like I actually legitimately, like, I know that April was playing a prank, but at the same time, I've actually legitimately heard about things, and that's why I feel like at the end of the day, like, I feel like just the evil side of our world. It tries to play tricks on us, and like I don't.
April.
yeah. April's the evil thing in this story.
You want to know what actually happened though? That was actually supernatural. Later that night.
Yeah.
Okay, so April told me it was a prank, right? Like we found out it was April all along. She was just like being mean to us. But later that night, when we were all sleeping, April says that she was sleeping in her own bed, and she opened her eyes a little bit, and there was a figure. There was a humanoid
I think you said that
figure.
before.
Yeah,
like,
that was like
maybe
standing
April
at the
did?
edge of the bed. I was in my bed, and the other girl was next to me, and nobody was getting up to use the bathroom. She was just like sitting. She was just like sitting. I mean, not sitting. She was laying down, and she was looking through the corner of her eyes, and she saw a humanoid figure. And when she told me that story, I was so mad. At that point, I was so pissed because I'm like, you already got me once. You are not getting me a second time. And she's like, no, this is true.
What I mean, sleep paralysis, like that's what I'm saying. Like that, like we're gonna talk about that later. We're gonna talk about that later, guys. Oh man. This one's a long one.
Oh, it wasn't even paralysis. She was like willfully paralyzed. She was like paralyzed in fear.
Oh, it's one of those scenarios.
It wasn't even sleep paralysis. She just saw it out of the corner of her eye. She felt like a presence. She felt the presence first, and then she experienced it. Yeah.
That's too freaky for me. Ooh. See, sometimes like I don't mind talking about these stories. Like, believe it or not, guys, fair warning. I honestly hesitated telling these stories out in public, especially for everyone out there in the world, including the YouTube community. But it's just, at the same time, they're fun stories, and I look back at them, and they're just fun stories now. Because I don't have anything. I mean, you just had something, and you're like 20-something years old, and it's like...
I was in the room, but like the thing is, I was in the room, but I didn't experience it, so it's not even my story to tell. It was April's.
Oh yeah,
but she swears that this is what happened, and I believe her.
Like I said, like there's been other incidents in Luxor. Like I'm sure that there's other YouTubers out there that have actually spoken about these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost positive they've had.
It's haunted for real.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh.
Oh. So your next story.
I know. This one's a long one. I'll try and shorten as best as I can. So this actually happened Christmas Eve. It just so happened Christmas Eve. I was 10 years old and my sister was 13. That's why I said my sister comes up a lot, because she was with me almost for every single one of these stories. And I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if like maybe there was something going on with me or something going on with her. I don't know. Or maybe it was both of us, but we were always together. But this one, I really have no explanation for it. Like, okay, let me just go into it. So, in my cousin's old house in Easton, Pennsylvania, there's this old radio station that's just up the street. Like I don't know, it has like a couple, I think it's like maybe like 1 or 2 acres of land. But there's a bunch of other houses too. So his house is on the bottom, and then it kind of curls up the street and it goes down, and up that hill, that's where this abandoned radio station was. And for years, we would play Manhunt. And if you guys don't know, it's kind of like hide and seek, except like it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a mix between hide and seek and jailbreak, where you have your own spot where all the captors stay there and you yell jailbreak and everyone leaves and everyone hides again. So anyways, we were playing Manhunt, and it was during that time when we had a break period between like everyone's resting up, and it was going to play the next round. And then my cousin Christian, actually, let me explain this. My cousin Christian, Jeffrey, my brother Jason was there, my cousin Brian was there, and then some of my other smaller cousins, and then obviously my sister Melinda was there. So there's a couple of people out playing Manhunt, and I'm going to explain this for a reason, which is why I can't tell you or explain to you what happened that night. And I actually, once again, I called up my family members to confirm the story, and all of them, so far, everything does check out. We all are on the same page. So my cousin Christian had this, the Acura car brand. He had this little keychain light where you pressed it, and it had this little blue glowing light. So he flashed it into the radio station, and the radio station has just open glass panels. And he flashed it inside, and all we saw was these giant pillars. Like, it was just random pillars and then old desks and pieces of paper everywhere inside. It looked like they just, like, up and left. I'm saying the old people who were working at the radio station just up and left, and we knew it. So my cousin flashes it, and all of a sudden he drops it, and he starts shaking, and he's like, "Did you guys see that?" Obviously, I didn't see it. My cousin Brian didn't, but the first people that saw it was Chris, Jeffrey, and my sister Melinda. And Jason, tried to play into it, like, "Oh, like, what'd you guys see? Like, do it again." And like, Chris was really hesitating to do it, but he ended up picking up the keychain and flashed it again, and then we all saw it. There was somebody or something walking between the pillars inside the building, and it was just walking. And at first it seemed like normal, like someone was in there. It seemed like a homeless person, but then we realized that the person was completely naked, and then we realized that it didn't look like it quite had a face. Like, we're not, I can't explain to you what I saw, because remember, I was so little, and that's why I can't give you distinct features, because my memory is kind of fading, but I didn't really see any face, and neither did my family members. And we all like ran, like we booked it. Like I remember Chris like dropped the keychain again, and we all like booked it and ran. And we ran down the street back to the house, and we were trying to explain to all the parents, but all the parents were like gone. Like, they were all drunk at this time. They were just gone, okay? So no one was on page with anything that was going on. And so we're like, what did we see? And like, we all were trying to figure it out. So we were all sitting in the living room while all the parents were taking shots in the living room. I mean, in the dining room. And oh man. And so we were trying to figure out, and we're like, you know what? Let's go up again. I don't know why we decided to. I don't know why.
Oh my god.
Because we're, when you're a kid, curiosity, you know what I mean?
You guys the type that get killed in the horror
movies.
Seriously.
This is not what you do. So we ended up going back up there. And once again, for the third time, my cousin flashed the keychain light, and we didn't see anything. So we're like, well, okay, let's play another round of Manhunt.
You guys.
I don't know why we were thinking that. So we started playing Manhunt again, and then we had another break. And then, just for the heck of it, we flashed it a fourth time, and there was nothing there. Nothing. We didn't see anything. So we're like, okay, we're good. And so we're, hanging out, and we're finally talking about it again. We're saying like, oh, like, what did you see? What did you see? And we're all trying to figure out what happened. And then in the middle of us talking, I think it was like maybe my smaller baby cousins. I don't know who it was, but I remember someone had pointed up, even further up the street, towards the street light. And she's like, do you guys see that? And so we looked up, and we saw this guy with a top hat. It was like a dark trench coat. I can't tell you if it was brown or black. I don't know. It was just a dark trench coat and then a cane. And we didn't think anything of it. Whatever. We just thought like someone's just walking down the street. And then we noticed that the light of the street lamp started flickering as he was walking down. Oh. And each time the guy passed by a street lamp walking towards us, the street lamps would flicker. And
so like in a row, so he walks past one, and then it flickers, and then he goes to the other one, and then the other one flickers.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was, I'm not even kidding, it was like straight out of a movie. Like, I have no way of explaining it, but it was like straight out of a movie scene, and it was really, really freaky. And immediately, like, same thing, like, all of us just booked it. We didn't even say anything to each other. Like, actually, no. I remember Jeffrey and Chris just started running first. Like, they were the first ones to run, and then my brother Jason just left us. My own brother just left us. Melinda started running, and like, all I do was turn around, and I realized that they're gone. Like, they're already running. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to run too. And so like, I run, and like, everyone's running. And I remember my cousin Brian fell down on the floor, and I don't know what possessed me. I don't know what, because Brian was, even though he was younger, he was, bigger than me. So I remember grabbing him from like the back of his pants, like just the back of his pants and his shirt. And I just like, you're running, like you're getting up. And I like picked him up, and like we just started booking it and running. I don't know how I got that strength. Maybe it was just the adrenaline and fear, but I was able to pick him up and we continued running. It was the funniest thing. And it gets even worse, I should say, because when we got down, obviously it was Christmas, and it was so funny because we went down to the house again, and my parents were like, "Hey, presents time," and we completely forgot about what just happened. We're like, "Presents!"
Oh yeah, it was Christmas.
So we opened up presents.
Wow, that's wild.
And we didn't even care. Yeah, it was fine. And then after that, we all went home after that. I mean, we all slept over first because the parents were all drunk that night. It was the first time in a very long time that my parents slept over somewhere. They were gone though. But anyways, the next morning, like early in the morning, we went back home and everyone left. And my cousins and I, we never brought it up ever again. Well, not ever again. We didn't bring it up for a while. And it was months later, finally, it was me, my sister, and our friend Marley that was outside. We were playing basketball at our street in New Jersey. And all of a sudden, my sister just points and she's like, "Amy." And I look down the street and there he is again. And this time, my friend Marley sees him. So once again, I have no explanation as to what happened because first my cousins all saw him and then all of a sudden this is happening. And that same night, we didn't have a corded phone anymore. We actually had a portable phone. So we called up my cousins and we explained to them like what we saw that night. And they're like, "Oh my goodness, so did we." So at that same time, at that same day, at that same night, when we called up our cousins, they had said that they saw the same thing. And this was my cousins that lived in Amboy. They saw it. Same thing with my cousins that lived in PA. They all saw it that same night again. And this is different locations. And we don't know what was going on or what was happening. And here we have another witness that wasn't even there. Like Marley was not even there originally. And she saw it too. So now at this point we have no part of it. Yeah, now she's a part of it.
Y'all gotta burn some sage.
Yeah, like I don't know. But it was the creepiest thing because we're like, "Oh my goodness, like how does that even like I have no explanation for that."
So
I really don't.
Everyone saw it at the same time.
Yeah.
In different locations.
Yeah, I don't know if it was
horror movie.
I don't know if it was the same time, but I knew it was the same day. Like because we had called up late at night. That you know what I mean. And that's what I'm saying. Like.
I only have one question.
I don't know.
How mad would you be if somebody were to see the story and steal it and make it a movie?
Hey, I wouldn't be mad at all. Like, go for it if y'all want to make a movie about it. But that's what I'm saying.
That was
like,
a horror movie. That really was.
Like, if you think about it, though, like, all of these have movie tropes, too. So that's why in my head, like, if right now as an adult looking back, it might also just be the mind playing games on you. And it's also, I forgot what that's called, but when you're in a group together and you start talking about things, I think maybe we all, I don't know how to explain it. Like maybe we all bounced off each other in these ideas. Like we were kids back then.
But everyone saw that same thing on that same day?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Like I have no explanation for it. And once again, even before this video, I did call up and talk to them and to see if our stories matched up, and it did. And so I don't know what to say in that aspect. I don't know.
Believe.
No, I think like at the end of the day, like God is with me, so I'm safe. All is good. Yeah, all is good in the world. God is good every day, and every day God is good.
Now it's time for your sleep paralysis story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were talking about sleep paralysis. This is my last story, by the way, because then we're going to be talking about kids in general.
Oh, God.
This one's really short, not as long as the Christmas story. So this happened when I was 13 years old. This was the very last thing that happened to me personally in terms of supernatural stuff. But also might just be me stressed out because I was involved in a lot of sports, so I think it was just stress, if I think back on it. Anyways, I remember I was sleeping in my room. I was just taking a nap during the day. And by the time I woke up, it was nighttime. And I feel really uncomfortable in the dark even now, which is why I also think it might have just been the darkness getting to me. But I remember I was laying in bed and my door was closed and I see the hallway light. And all of a sudden I hear footsteps walking towards my door, and then all of a sudden there's someone standing in front of my door because I could see the two shadows, like the shadow of the feet underneath the door sill, or if you will. And I freaked out because I started remembering that I'm the only one in the house.
Oh.
And yeah, I'm the only one in the house. And I know that my family, like my brothers aren't there because at that time, Tim was living in Hawaii. They were all out of the house at this point. Like that I know for sure. They were just all out of the house. And my sister Melinda, I think she was with her boyfriend at the time, so I knew that she wasn't home. And my parents had gone out grocery shopping, which is why I knew they weren't home. I was by myself. And So anyways, I see the person standing in front of my doorway and I can't move. I'm just laying down in bed and I kept on like telling myself to just get up and turn on the light. Just get up, turn on the light, do something. And once again, our house is very secured and I knew where that secure was. So
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson. I knew where that was. And so I knew better, and I was trained, by the way. I'm trained, if you can get where I'm going with this.
Calm down, Liam.
Yeah, no, I'm trained. So I'm good. And so, but for some reason, I just could not move. And then all of a sudden, the thing starts walking, like just backs up for a moment, walks away, and I see the shadow, like, kind of move for a bit, and it stands in front of my sister's doorway. So it stood in front of my doorway for like maybe like a minute or two. And mind you, a minute or two when you're scared is a very, very long time. Very, very long time. And then all of a sudden it was standing in front of my sister's doorway.
Oh God.
For like, no exaggeration, probably 10 minutes. Just stood there and I sat in fear, and that was a very long time. And I remember it was that long because I had a little Stitch clock. I love Lilo and Stitch, so I had a Stitch clock, and I knew that it was around that time because I think it was like around like 5 something that it happened. So I remember that happening. Anyways, and then all of a sudden the figure walked out, like finally after like 10 minutes, it walked out, went upstairs to my parents' room, and I could hear the creaking upstairs. Oh. And then my parents came in. Oh. And like my parents, like I heard the jingling of the keys, and I heard them come into the house. And like, I don't know what happened, but finally I was able to regain control, and I just started crying. Like, I don't know what happened. I just started crying, and my parents opened the door, and I was just sobbing, and I was telling them what happened. I was like, there's someone upstairs. Like, I'm telling you, there's someone upstairs. Like, there's someone's creaking. So my dad, secured, went up there and didn't see anything. So I honestly think I was just hallucinating. It was just the darkness playing games, or it could have just been me being stressed.
How does your mom and dad feel about all the stories?
Yeah, I know. That's actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because every single time my sister and I every single time my sister and I like tell these stories to my parents, they're like, we don't remember this.
Do they believe you?
This.
Oh, they don't remember.
They don't
you
remember
guys crying
at
to
all.
them?
They don't. Yeah, they don't remember the basement incident when we cried to them. They don't remember like the whole sleep paralysis thing.
The Christmas one I understand because they were really
I know
drunk.
they were gone then. So yeah, and then like same thing with I mean there's a separate story. This is not supernatural. Like I think someone tried to break into our house one time. Oh. That one, but my parents don't remember that either. Like I don't know what's up with my parents, but for some reason they don't remember these things. I'm like, what? And yet everybody else does. When I mean this was my own solo story, which is why I think it was just me being stressed and sleep paralysis. Aye. But everybody else, like my cousins and my brothers, they remember this stuff. Yet for some reason, my parents don't. I don't know why. That's why I said kids.
It's like in the movies when the kids can see everything, but then the adults can't see it. And then you have to convince the adults to help you.
That's such a great segue into what we'll talk about afterwards, but I know you have another one to say.
Wait, but what about your mom's story?
Oh, actually.
Oh, we got a bonus story coming in.
Oh, wow. You just remember. Yeah, this was not in the plan, actually. And Kelly just brought this up. This is not my story to tell. This is just... It's my mom's story, actually. And once again, it has to do with the Ouija board. I remember when I was younger. I don't even remember how old I was.
Yeah. Turn away if you can't handle this heat.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, I don't know what the heck is up with our family, I swear. So, my mom had just lost her father, my grandfather. Mm-hmm. And she was really down. My mom lost her parents at a very young age. So, she was obviously very distraught. And she had asked our friend of the family if she could borrow the Ouija board. And mind you, this is not my story. This is what my mom told me years ago. So anyways... Apparently she had used it and something happened and she had wanted to throw it out. And apparently it ended up on the bed the next day, like in her bedroom.
And what happened? What did it say?
No, it didn't say anything. It was just the box was there and stuff like that.
But what happened that freaked her out that made her want to throw up?
I don't know. She never told us what happened. Mm-hmm. Like she never delved into that. She didn't tell us what she asked or what happened or anything. I don't know the details of that.
Just a little lore behind real quick, just a little lore behind the Ouija board. A lot of people say that when you're trying to talk to something, there's no guarantee that what you're talking to is actually what you want to talk to.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened.
So sometimes like you think you're talking to a family member or something, and then what ends up happening is they'll say something that's entirely different.
That's why I said like the devil likes to play tricks. And you gotta tell him at the end of the day, you tell him that God is with you and that he has no power here, like Gandalf, like you shall not pass type thing.
Play with those things.
You can't, like you cannot. And like God's more powerful, by the way. God is the Almighty. Anyways, so I remember the one thing I do remember from that incident though is that my mom had yelled at my sister and I, like she was furious, and she yelled at us saying like, "Are you trying to play tricks with me? Are you trying to mess with me?" And she was so mad, and I didn't know what she was talking about. Neither was my sister. We were so confused. And she asked us if we brought the board game up to her room. And we said, no, we didn't touch it. We didn't do anything. And then she had called up the boys and asked them. They weren't even home. They weren't, my brothers are way older than me. Way, way older. Because technically they're my half brothers. So, yeah, obviously that whole incident happened. But all I remember was her yelling at us, and apparently she tried to throw it away. She tried to cut it, apparently. And once again, it came back, and she was furious. And in the end, she ended up giving it back to our family friend. And we haven't seen it since. So,
have you seen your family friend since?
No. We don't talk to her anymore. It's not because of that, by the way. It's not. I think it's just a matter of the fact that our friend of the family, I don't know. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of friend of families that we don't really hang out with too often anymore. I think it's because when you have kids and all their kids can hang out with each other.
You can't be friends with every single person.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just as time goes by, we just hang out less and less. And on top of that, we're older now, so we have our own friends.
So no more stories from that board. They didn't try to burn it or anything. They just gave it back.
Yeah. They gave it back. I think that was the only thing that she was able to do. Once again,
dangerous stuff.
But like, if you think about it right now, I don't really, like, today as an adult, I don't care about that stuff. I don't really believe in that stuff. It's just, I don't know, it's just dumb. That's why I said, like, I think it was just kids playing tricks. I don't know. It's weird. So anyways, go on with your story.
I got a funny sleep paralysis story. No, yes. But the thing is, I only had sleep paralysis once before, and that was also when I was really stressed out. So when I was in college, I was really stressed out. I could barely sleep because in college, like, they kind of encourage you to do whatever you can, even if it takes all night for a project.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So that really ruins your sleep schedule. And looking back at it, I wish I never did that. But yeah, I mean, it's already happened. Sometimes you would kind of do an all-nighter, and then you would have to like work throughout the whole night, and that for some people it could lead to trouble sleeping, insomnia, or just like bad sleeping patterns. So I was going through that at that time, and then the time where sleep paralysis happened was like during that time. So I just remember I was so stressed out. I really wanted to sleep, and I had such a hard time, and the moment that I thought I was sleeping, I felt like I couldn't move, and I felt like I was just kind of glued to my bed, but I couldn't really like, move my arms or legs, and my eyes were like wide open. I was just like, great. Whatever.
I love the eye roll. You're like, oh, okay.
Whatever.
It's happening.
No, I just rolled my eyes. I was like,
accepted.
Whatever. You know what? If this is what it takes to get me to actually get a good night's rest, because I wasn't trying to sleep. That was the thing. I wasn't trying to sleep. I was just trying to like lay down for 1 second.
Yeah.
And then I ended up paralyzed, and I was just like, all right, let it happen. Let it happen. I was just like, okay, thank you. This was what I needed. And then I had the most peaceful sleep, I think, of that entire year.
Wait,
thanks to sleep
so you
paralysis.
just froze and you're just like, let it happen.
Let's go.
Oh my
I told you, all my stories are stupid.
But that's so funny though at the same time. Like I would rather do that than mine. I mean, at least I have a story to tell at the same time, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't remember if a shadowy humanoid figure paid me a visit. I honestly don't remember if there was like any other presence in the room. I didn't care. There could have been like a ghost party happening right next to me. I don't care. I wanted my sleep, and I finally got my sleep. If a ghost wanted to pay me a visit, whatever.
You know what I find interesting is that why is it that whenever it comes to anything scary, we can't really see their faces? Like, if you really want to be scary, then show us your face. Like, I don't know. Like, don't be a little B word. You know what I mean? Like,
because the human mind can't invent faces.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, but no, it's still not. Like, if you're gonna be scary, at least, put up something.
Yeah.
Like put up a game. Like, let's see. As an adult, that's probably why. Because
imagine the humanoid figure. It's like a big shadow and turns around. Danny DeVito.
What?
That's not scary anymore. That's why they don't do it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, what face is it gonna have? I think what's scary is like an avatar, the creature that changes faces based on your expressions.
Oh,
that's scary.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
That's scary.
Anyway,
Amy. No, so we actually did want to bring this up. We did originally want to bring up the fact that when you're a kid, it's weird. For some reason, kids just see more than we do as adults. And one of those things is right now, currently happening, and just something happened today, apparently, when I was calling on my sister, once again, right before this video. And she was telling me about how my niece Aviana, and I've seen her do these things personally. Aviana, who is 2 years old, for some reason, she always stares into this one corner of the house, in her house. Sorry. And she does this a lot. Like, I've seen her do it too. And she just stares and just looks. And Gabby, the newborn baby, she's only like a month and a half, I think, at this point. She recently started staring at that one corner as well in the house. And for some reason, it's always at this one corner. And before I tell you what happened today, actually, and yesterday, it was like 2 weeks ago. I was with Avi and I was taking care of her. I went to go get her from her nap, and she's like, "Mommy, Amy, Mommy," and she points over to the bathroom down the hall. Like, in the side of the bedroom, and she's just constantly, like, she's not even looking at me. She's just looking like, "Mommy, Amy, Mommy," and I'm like, "Oh no, wait, we ain't doing this." I literally looked at this dark area and I was like, "Not today, demon. The Lord's on my side." Like, and so I just picked her up and I brought her downstairs. I'm like, "Yo, Melinda, there's something upstairs," and she's like, "Again?" And I was like, "Again? What do you mean again?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's happened before. Like, there's something else upstairs. I don't know what it is." So now we have something in the downstairs floor and something upstairs. Like, I don't know what it is. So anyways, apparently, when I called out my sister earlier this morning, my sister said that Aviana yesterday, there's like this little playhouse that she plays in this opposite corner of the room. And my sister's husband, like my brother-in-law, asked Aviana, like, what are you doing in there? Because she wasn't playing with her toys or anything. She just sat there. And she said that she was hiding. Oh. I was like, what? And then earlier this morning, she did it again this morning. Aviana just sat there. And apparently she was still, like, looking in the corner. And my sister had asked her, like, "What are you doing, Avi?" And she's like, "I'm hiding, Mommy."
Oh, my God.
I was like, nope.
Nope.
Nope. I was like, "Melinda, you need to get out of that house. Like, something's going on." Like, I don't know what it is with my sister's house, but there's something. I don't know. And I've told Melinda, I've told her, I'm like, just pray. Just pray, man. Because I don't know what it is. But like I said, as I'm telling you the stories, the last thing that happened to me, really, because I don't really count the sleep paralysis because I think that was just stress. So the last thing that happened to me was when I was 10 years old. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're a kid, I don't know what it is with a child's mind. Like, maybe you definitely do see stuff that adults don't see, or maybe it's just pure imagination. I don't know what it is.
You gotta get that house blessed, first of all.
Like, like those horror movies when people, we were talking about, like, burning sage or whatever.
Okay, life tips. Okay, you gotta get adequate sleep. You gotta get your house blessed. You gotta, like, carry some sage. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you also gotta stay away from little kids. I'm sorry.
Yeah, little kids. Like, this is what I say. Kids, they'll embellish. They'll lie. They'll lie right to your face. But there are times when kids don't make up stories and they're telling you the truth, and, like, it really freaks you out because you could tell when a kid is lying versus when a kid is telling the truth. You can, because like when they're lying, it's like, are you sure? Like, did you really take that, or did you steal it, or like, all this stuff. Like, you can tell because you can kind of bait them into it. Like, to tell the truth, you could bait them into it. But when they're telling the truth, they say it like it is. We were talking about this earlier. Like, if a kid calls you fat, you're fat. You know what I mean? If a kid tells you you're ugly, you're ugly. Like, there's no beating around the bush with a kid. But that's what I'm saying. Like, man, I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
Oh boy. That brings me to my final story.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to tell because we need to lighten up the mood. Lighten up the moods. Tell your story.
So my final creepy true story. This is kind of bad. So my family, we regularly host our guests from China, and because it's better, like, for Chinese people, you always host in your own house. You don't really put them in hotels or anything like that. And we would have, like, we had this guest over during winter. I think it was like December, around Christmas time.
Okay.
And then I knew that we had some, like, little creepy crawlies in the attic. I thought they were raccoons, but turns out they were squirrels. Okay. So the next morning, our house guests were saying, like, hey, we heard some crawling noises upstairs in the attic. Is everything okay? What was that? And then my parents were so embarrassed. They didn't want them to know that it was squirrels because, that's embarrassing.
They were embarrassed about squirrels being up in their...
Yeah, you lose face, though. So they didn't want to lose face. So guess what they said? Oh, it was a ghost. It was a spooky ghost. Our house is haunted.
So they told your guests that...
Yeah, it was probably a ghost. They're like,
it was a ghost.
Probably a ghost.
So you'd rather tell your house is haunted than say that there's a bunch of squirrels on your roof?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, that saves face, because ghosts... Whatever.
Do you think is that just like a Chinese thing? Like, you'd rather not lose face? Because, like, we would just... I feel like as Americans, we would just say, like, oh yeah, we have squirrels in there.
Yeah, in America, losing face is not so much a concept. Yeah.
You dishonor my family.
Oh god. It's like these squirrels are dishonoring my family.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is it like?
Yeah, we trapped them shortly. Yeah, we put them back into the woods.
I thought of something super racist. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. The whole thing
because I was like, these squirrels must perform seppuku, and I was like, wait, that's Japanese. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
No, that's animal cruelty, Amy. We got them in these little cages. We sent them back into the woods.
So you have live traps.
Oh yeah, the little squirrel traps. Yeah, we didn't seppuku them.
I don't know. There's sometimes when we've had live traps and we've forgotten about them.
Oh my god, Amy! Okay, no wonder y'all are haunted.
No, my house isn't haunted. I'm good.
No wonder y'all are haunted. Y'all. You haunted. Melinda's haunted.
Hey, they're pests. They're pests. Like, when you have, like, freaking mice around the house, like, you need to do something about it. Like, just yesterday, literally, I'm not even kidding, just yesterday, I tossed out a spider outside my house.
Ew.
Yeah, it was nasty, too.
Oh, another bonus story. I don't even know if this should be included, but April was telling me when she was moving out of her first apartment, she had a sweater in, like, the corner of her room, and she took her sweater, and when she just, like, gently shook it for dust, 2 things came out of it. They were, like, this big, I think. Spider skins. Spider exoskeleton skins. Because you know how spiders, like, molt?
They can do that, too?
Yo! And then those were, like, the remnants. That. Those were the remnants of, like, the spiders. And it was, like, just, like, the skin. And it was, like, this big. It was 2 of them.
Oh, that is so gross.
Yep.
See, the only big... so if you... I don't know if we should add this either. I'm just rambling at this point. So if you guys want to listen in, that's perfectly fine if we keep it in.
That's scary to me, and that's a true story.
Well, because, like, everyone always gets freaked out. So in Puerto Rico, there's tarantulas. They're, like, everywhere. It's normal. It's fine. And tarantulas are misunderstood. They're actually really shy and scared of people.
Yeah, I heard they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, they don't do anything. Well, I don't know about the ones in Puerto Rico. They're pretty normal. Like, they're the most normal breed.
I bought a house with my tarantulas in Animal Crossing, so...
Oh, yeah, that's right. All of us did. But, anyways, there was one time when I was in the Olympic Training Center. We were training then, and I had gotten back. I was exhausted. It was one of those days where it was like the 5 o'clock training sessions, and then breakfast, and then training, and then lunch, and then training, dinner, and then off to our bedrooms. It was an exhausting day. And I had gotten back to my room, and I see this little tarantula. It was a baby tarantula. It was like about this big.
That's not a baby. What the?
No, they're their baby. I'm saying this is like the legs and everything. Like,
then what's
like
an
the
adult?
body? You know? Well, yeah, the adults. Yeah. They're fine. They're fine. You're okay. So it looked like a baby one, and it was like a brown one, and it looked like it had really faded stripes. So I don't know, or maybe it was just lighter brown. But anyways, it was the typical brown ones though, and it was just in the corner of my room, like the very, very corner. Like here's one wall, here's another, and it was just there, like just spread on the side. And I was like, "Yo, bro, like you stay there." I'll stay here and we're good because I don't have time to deal with you. So I slept and the next morning it was gone and I was like, didn't go on me. I'm alive. I'm not bitten. We're good. And like, I remember telling this story to my mom and she was freaking out. She's like, you should have told the security to do something about it. And I was like, I'm fine.
You called the cops? I would have called the cops if I saw something that big.
Well, because we have security guards around Albuquerque.
Yeah, but you can't call them on a spider, right?
No, they patrol around the area.
Oh.
Like they just walk around the property, and so she was saying to like call one of them over.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like we knew a lot of because my teammate and I, we were constantly in the Olympic Training Center.
Mm-hmm.
We were constantly training all summer long, and so we knew the ladies at the cafeteria. We knew some of the security guards and all that, and like even my parents knew. So
get this.
They're like, get it, I'm like, it was fine.
Oh God. Ooh. I don't know, in New Jersey, because I have a basement, we got like these centipedes and they're like this big.
I love how we trailed off from stories to like bugs, but that's so true because bugs are kind of creepy.
We're still going off of creepy true stories.
Yeah, creepy true stories. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
see, bugs are.
Oh my God, that can of Raid just saved me because I have a system now. Because in the beginning, when I used to see these big centipedes, I would get so scared. But now I'm not so scared anymore because I got my Raid. I just like shake it up, just psst, and it would still move, and it would still be like no, because in the beginning they're super fast. They're like this, but then after like a spray of Raid, and I'm talking about like a 10 seconds long spray of Raid, so they're like
10 seconds is a long time.
Yeah, they're like caked in Raid, and then they're just like and that's when I Dyson that. Just Dyson it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just heard the other day like Dawn was saying that ever since you got the Raid, you've become a lot more brave when it comes to bugs in your house.
I'm like a new person now with this Raid. I'm so strong.
That's what happens when you have secure items in your house. You feel more comfortable and more safe.
I'm not gonna blast it. Oblivion. That's what the Dyson's for, my dude. Imagine.
I gotta tell you something after this video. I gotta tell you something.
Oh God. Oh my goodness. I feel like I might be the type to do that one day.
Gosh. I think this is a great way to end on. So
all right, you guys, thank you so much for listening to our creepy true stories. Tell us below some of your creepy true stories. And also let us know what you think about our stories. Do you think maybe there's a reasonable explanations for some of Amy's stories?
Say, maybe you guys can give me pointers and maybe tell me what was going on. Or did someone else see the guy with the top hat and the I'm honestly curious if someone else saw him, because that'd be wild. Like, I actually, side note, I brought it up to people and they're like, what if that was like early Slenderman? I'm like,
okay, you know what?
That was
okay. If this happened to you, I don't want to know, but Amy wants to know. So okay, just comment below.
Because as I'm an adult, it's like I want some reasonable explanations for these things. So like I had my own ideas of what happened. Like I said, I have my own psychological theories on it, but who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
Let us know.
Yeah,
let us know in the comments. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us for tea. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.